let's get to work. So, what I am working on, as advertised, is MobOrg, which is a tool that I'm creating to help me organize mob programming huddles, mob programming sessions that I'm running. Because I'd like to run more than just the one a week, but even the one a week is a bit of overhead detail tracking that is annoying. So what do? We build tools. So what the tool is about, and you can actually hit project as well as Fluebits, so you can follow along. Alrighty, it should be, yep, okay. So you can follow along with Fluebits. The repo is public open source. Here is a starting of a README file that I was basically creating because I was testing out this tool called readme.so that I found and was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let's go to our to-do. So this is the overall project for managing the huddles. Basically, I have I can schedule a new huddle. I can see the huddles. The next thing is basically the participant details. So again, for those of you new to this project, my goal is to make this thing as usable as quickly as possible. Hey there, Tram Stars. Welcome. I want to make this usable as quickly as possible, which means right now I'm only worrying about me logging in and being able to do whatever I need to do, and not worrying about participants sort of self-service just yet, just so that if I ask who wants to be in the next mob and I get people saying yes, I want to be able to just enter them into the tool manually. I just realized it'd be cool to integrate with Discord. Or it's a pot thing, right? Self-service. Yeah. Into function 0. I wonder if it makes sense to make the participant details a value object. Some of the details will be value objects, yeah. Hey there, Binku. Welcome. So let's see. So where are we? The next thing we're going to do is basically add a user as a participant. So what we mostly me, but with help from y'all, figured out that we've got the user is our OAuth 2 user, because I'm using OAuth 2 through GitHub to manage authentication. So user is an authenticated user. Participant is sort of the main thing. They have a one-to-many relationship with Huddles. And the participant has a bunch of information. The minimum amount of information I need is kind of just their name, maybe. Sender function 0 says you meant oh, you wonder if it ever makes sense to make the participant details a value object. I think I mean, even though I won't sanitize them just for, right, so the reason I make value objects or new types in general is not always for sort of behavioral boundaries, but sometimes just for giving things names. Yes, name and, well, if I'm thinking truly minimal, I just need names. Eventually, like the next tiny feature I want is just names. Eventually, it'll be have they been hooked up to having access as a collaborator to the repository. I think right now just kind of name. Um, but I guess I do need. And I will have their GitHub username. So I'm going to assume that that they've already been hooked up, or I've done that manually. At least right now, that's reasonable. Well, let's see how far this goes. So where participant is just is only uh, name and GitHub username. Tramstars. Is it good design to have abstract class that details designs have abstract class with details like username for OAuth? I tend not to like abstract classes for stuff that links to things that are not in my control. But that's sort of a general thing, so I'm not sure. Not sure I fully get what you're asking. But it does make me think about the domain boundary for this. I think all of these are in my domain. Is OAuth 2 user in my domain? It's technically part of the security subdomain, but because it does tie me. Yeah, I'm gonna think about that because it does tie me to a specific implementation. It does tie me to the framework. So technically, yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Yeah. So yeah, so if we look at participant right now, these are strings. I have not. Why does it think participant is misspelled? Oh, it's saying class can be a record. Really? No. Well, yes, because that's what it was originally. Thank you, IntelliJ. So yes, these are definitely things that could be replaced with value objects. And eventually I'll do that. I'm not sure if that's what you were getting at. So there is a setting. I'm tempted to like comment out some of these until I need them, because they're going to sort of get in the way. Or I could provide just a nicer, convenient participant creation method. But I do need one more property. Although I don't know if I need it yet. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. So what I need then is is basically some way to trigger um, adding a participant to an existing huddle. And some point pretty soon, I'm going to want to actually persist the huddles, because constantly recreating them. Actually, I could do that application load. Let's actually do that. So what we can do is we can create a class, and this is a Spring specific thing, which, where would that go? That would go here. I'm just going to call it, oh. So this is going to be implements command line runner. And we'll need to inject the huddle repository. And we'll create a, okay. And so then here I can say huddle repository, save, and I'll create a huddle. Oops. So create a new huddle. It was snowing, now it's really hot. Yeah, weather is weird. Yeah, that's weird to switch that drastically. But I guess your snow melted. So this is the name of the huddle. Number 6. Zone date time of, let's see, so when is my next huddle plan? 7? May 7, 9. And zone ID of America plus. Did it put the parentheses in the right place? I think so. All right, so that should preload. So what'll happen is, if I annotate it correctly, which is why it's complaining. What is it complaining? Yes. So let's annotate it properly. Component is fine. So what'll happen is when now why is it having trouble? Oh, because my in memory. Oh, right. So I need to bridge that. How did that work before? Oh, because it used the huddle service. Should I be using the huddle service? No, I just need the repository. So let's pull this out into a method. Create huddle repository. And we'll make this a bean method. All right, now it should be fine. Yes. Okay, good. So if we run it, then we should be able to see the default huddle loaded. Too many tabs open. So there's my mob. Click into it. Did I expect this to fail? Did I not put something? Oh yeah, so registration, right? That's because I was creating that bean last time. Okay, good. So that's fine. What are my tests? And I was ignoring these. Oh, I forgot to figure out security. Make a note for that. Do that offline. All right. Integration test. And also, there. Yes. Okay. I don't want to do those online because those are boring and tedious and not as much fun. We spend a lot of time security. Yeah, it's a whole. I mean, there's still stuff that I always have to look up because I'm constantly like, well, I haven't done this since the last time I set this up, and the last time I set this up was the last of the during a project, and I even have to like go to my own training materials. It's like, how do I do this again? Yeah, I want a mock logged in user, but because it's OAuth, it works slightly differently, and I didn't want to deal with that right now. All right. So we did that. All our tasks pass. So our huddle detail page, this is the registration object we want to create. So let's go into our controller, which do I want to split yet? Getting there. So when we do a get for this page, we need to add in registration form. Yeah, I added that annotation. It didn't work, and I didn't want to troubleshoot it at the time. So I'm not sure what it was, but it was that much I remembered. That and I have to dig in and troubleshoot that some more. Hey, Rivian, welcome. Oh, good. Welcome aboard. Feel free to ask questions, by the way. Don't feel that you're interrupting me. If I wanted to be uninterrupted, I wouldn't stream. So what I need to add is I actually need to create a form that has the name and, oh look, I had already figured out what I needed. Name and GitHub username. Look at me being so smart. So name and GitHub username. And so what we need to do is create regis. I can already feel like, even though this package has what, 5 classes, I already feel like there's stuff around participants that should be maybe even in a sub package, because this package is already starting to feel like, the reason I'm feeling this way is I'm like, this isn't just registration form. This is sort of huddle participation registration form. And I feel like when I'm adding on too many of the nouns, too many of the classes, it feels like it needs to be in a sub package. So I'm just going to call it registration form right now. This cannot be a record. So we need a string for the name and, sorry, oops. Private, not final. String for the GitHub username, and then long for the huddle ID. Yeah. And this is just a DTO, so just getters and setters for that. I want to do this as a model annotation. I can just refactor to that. So we'll just do model, add attribute, registration, new registration form. So, yeah, it needs to be mutable, but also there's, I'm not sure. I'm forgetting the details now, but for using it to pull information out, records were fine, but pushing information in seemed to not work. I'm not sure why. So going with a more straightforward class. Yeah. I don't remember the reason. I just remember it not working. We got the detail view. We got that. Digital huddle form. I don't like the word form in here. Or do I? Does that make it easier to understand? That's weird. So it picked up registration, which IntelliJ does. It picked up name. Why did it not pick up GitHub username? IntelliJ is very sort of inconsistent about getting this stuff in time leave correct. So pulls that out of there. Add huddle. Do I have huddle ID in there? Need to make sure I have that. So when we load the huddle detail view, do we grab the ID? Yes, we do. Does it know how to pull it out? No, because it's just called ID. That's why. Let's fix that. That should just be ID. It's so weird what it knows. So it knows all about the huddle. But participant, it doesn't know from participant views. Doesn't know this stuff. But from registration, it knows name, but it doesn't know get. Whatever. Okay. Let's try to switch. That's right. Let's flip the table and switch to Eclipse because that's worth it. Yes. So we got our registration form. So now the page should work. So let's do that. Let's restart the app. Actually, I should be able to go right here and look at that. So we've got no participants. We have registered participant. Would help, I guess, if I label the fields. I know I'm not going to be making it pretty, but I should at least have, this is the name, and this is the GitHub username. So when they submit, where do we redirect them back to? I don't even think we don't have this endpoint. Do we? I don't think I've implemented that endpoint yet. No, we haven't yet. So this is a huddle schedule. This is a huddle detail. Okay. Right. And so this is where I was going to write the test, the configuration test, which I can't because I've got the security stuff working. So I'm gonna wing it, which I would not normally do. Here we are. Where is that going to? Register. Tramstar, you remember the first time I found the stream, just learning Java, my goal is to get a job as a dev. It's also look for like spatial. Yeah. Isn't that so interesting? It's like, when we first encounter stuff, we just don't know which way is up even. We don't know, what's important, what's not important. And that's honestly, as a trainer, that's the hardest part for me is like what, trying to remember what I didn't understand. And that's actually been one of the really great things about streaming all this stuff is I can see if I go back, because I save everything. I've got drives filled with just video recordings over the past, 2+ years. And being able to go back and just look and say, what was I puzzled over when I was learning X? Like one of the things I'll do is I work on my spring course later in the year. I'll be going back and looking at like, what didn't I understand when I was developing Kid Money Manager? Oh. And then we like get used to like the complexity. And it's like, oh, that's, why does this seem so hard? Nantuski, why do I initiate the zone datetime in the controller instead of the service? Are you referring, oh, you mean here? Mainly because the service is in the domain. And so this is part of sort of the influenced by hexagonal architecture. So service is in the domain and speaks in sort of domain terms, whereas this information is coming from the browser. And so the controller is responsible for translating things coming in as like text and numbers and well, basically in this case, text and numbers. And it's responsible for converting that, at least initially, into some kind of domain type thing. Um, I could push some of this stuff into uh, basically some people call it application service. I think those terms get confusing, but basically I could put this in somewhere else, but right now it's fine where it is. But this service specifically is speaking in the language of the domain, so I don't want it responsible for converting something from a browser that's very specific to this controller. Because there may be getting input from another place like text messaging or command line or something where this conversion would be different. Yeah, good question. And I'm probably missing, I think I've got some tests on that. So we're going to do string. This is register participant. And we're going to expect a registration form. And so first thing we need to do is get the huddle ID. And so it looks like we're going to need some kind of huddle service register participant for that huddle. With their name and GitHub username. So now that I know what I need here, I'm going to sort of put this on pause so I can actually write some tests for it. So I'm going to create the method just so I can get it to compile. And this is going to redirect back to huddle detail. And I'm just going to manually do that. So now I know what so what I'm doing is sort of this outside in development. I'm trying to figure out what is the web UI need from the service, and then now I can start test driving the service. So I need a register participant. So if we go, so what we need this to do is basically grab the huddle from the repository. So do a lookup on that, and on that huddle, ask it to register the new participant, and then save it back. So I think I can actually go one more level in and directly test against huddle. And start test driving register, which I already had tested. Okay, so there we go. So now I just need to test the service. Transstars, is this app only for you or you? Eventually, the goal is to have participants register themselves. And eventually, to have them, when they register themselves, and of course, I'd have to have some kind of, I don't want just arbitrary people to register. I have to know who they are. And so they get some kind of, I haven't figured that part out, but I can't just let arbitrary people register. But once the self, I want to push as much onto the self-service as possible. So however they become known to the system, they register, they authenticate through GitHub so it knows who they are, and then we'll give them access to the repository automatically because there are APIs that do that, and a whole bunch of, and then send them follow-up information, send them an email saying, hey, welcome to the mob, here's some reading material, all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff that I currently do manually. Sending them the Zoom call link, sending them calendar invites, all sorts of stuff. But right now I just need it for me. That's why it's like, what is the minimal I need in order to make my life a little easier? Because right now I've got scraps of paper. All right, so this already works. Adding a participant to the huddle remembers it. So then I can just go to, yeah, the scraps of paper ended up to being easier than like an Excel spreadsheet. So yeah, scraps of paper and lots of copy and paste. So do I need to test anything here? It's going to retrieve from the repository, create a new participant. I'm not sure I feel the need. I don't feel a strong need to test this, but I'll write a test anyway. So let's go figure out where we want to test this. Hmm. Did I use the language consistently? Yes. Okay. Nope, that's not where I want to be. That's where I want to be. Okay. What is up with the spacing? All right, so this is sort of a weird test because I feel like I'm almost writing it after the implementation. But what I expect is given participant info, participant registers for huddle, and they are in. The reason why I'm not feeling very strongly about these kinds of tests is these are mostly just delegation, right? So like schedule huddle, it just takes the information, creates the correct object, and saves it. And these are totally passed through to the repository, so I don't have any tests for those. And this one is going to be fairly similar. So this is almost more of a sanity test than anything really driving development. So we need a service. Which requires that repository. We do need to schedule a huddle. So test assembly time now. Ugh. Do I want to do it that way or directly push? I need the ID, so I need to put this directly in a repository. No, not a method. Mm, So huddle. I didn't want to change that though. And really all I care about actually is the ID. So let's do this. Long huddle ID. Good. ID. All right. Now on the huddle service, we're saying when we register a participant, oh, it takes the actual huddle ID. Okay. To that huddle ID. Okay. And so if that works, then I expect that when I ask the huddle participants, uh, I want to compare against actual participants, or I could just extract. So for extracting participants, that contains only that. That should be good enough. All right. Yeah, I don't want to get hung up on sort of equals stuff. I need to make sure I'm testing that separately. But I'll get to that once I get to persistence. So let's run our tests. Stop the application. All right. Oh, I forgot to predict. See, I'm out of practice. I expected that to fail. And I expected it to fail because I have no implementation for register participant. So I expected it to basically this to be empty. So that's why this failed. All right. Now we can go here. We can say huddle repository. I guess we could say find by ID, huddle ID. So, or else get, no, I don't want to, I want to, or else throw. That's what I want. What's a throw by default? Oh, no such element. Mm, Probably want something a bit more precise. You, I need a domain exception. So let's go create that. Let's see if it'll create it in the right place. No, of course not. Why would it put it in the correct destination directory? Um, Fine. Hello, I am White Knight. Oh, I can just use a method reference, right? Yeah. I need the cast though? That's kind of annoying. Do I really need that? If not, why did it add it? All right, so now I've got a huddle. I've got a valid huddle. On that huddle, I register. I got to create a participant. Uh, Name, GitHub username, empty, false. Register that participant. I seem to have lost it. Okay, there we go. I'm White Knife. No, I have not worked on Android apps, and I probably never will. I always like I every time I think, oh, maybe I'll write an Android app. I look at what's involved, and I'm like, I'm not going down that road. Um, it's just yeah. There's only so much I can do. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. All right. So now I expect the test to pass. Now there is technically something missing, so I'm going to do that here. And this is the downside of like the only thing where you can get into trouble with using non sort of transactionally oriented storage systems. Yeah, but then I got to learn Kotlin, and I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm just not going to do it anytime soon. All right, so our test pass. I think that's it. Let's go. Let's go run it. Oh, what got messed up? Oh, really? So it was right? Do I not have in participant view? Oh, it's full name. I was fooled by the fact that it's called name here, but it's full name here. And so that's why it was complaining here. You know what? I'm going to rename this to participant view because that's what I call it in my code. Oh, thanks for that rename. That was horrible. That was not at all helpful. So that's full name. And oh, interesting casing. Uh, Technically this is correct because the H in GitHub is uppercase. Is this a personal project? Reason why I'm having to think about that is technically it's for my business, but it's just my business is just me. So, but it's something for my business. Uh, is this going to be confusing in the future? Clearly I am inconsistent. Um, I'm not going to. All right, let's not do that. And let's not do this either. Did I just rename it without? Let's rename this because even though it's correct, I just think it's going to cause me nothing but heartache. Okay, that's much better. That's annoying. Let's fix that. Neither one of these are what I want. Capitalization, right? I mean, the project is open source, but I need it for eventually. I run private mob programming sessions, and eventually I'll be charging for those, and so I need a tool to manage that. But it's open source, so anybody could use it. All right, so now GitHub username is correct. Correct here. This is now name, which it still thinks is wrong. But I think it thinks it's wrong here because participant view is a record. And so IntelliJ is not quite caught up to records in processing time leaf. Here, though, I don't know why it's not recognizing this unless I got a capitalization wrong there as well. No, there it's correct. The H is lowercase, and the H is lowercase. So I think it's just IntelliJ is confused. Possibly I'm confused, but it looks okay to me. Where do I learn design patterns from? I mean, I'm old. I've been around for a while. I learned design pattern from the book, discussing it with others as part of a book study group. I think it's just study group. Yeah. But how do I recommend people learn design patterns? One way is implementing them. I think, there's always the stage that I think you sort of invariably go through when you're learning anything new is you tend to see everything through that lens. And so when you learn a design pattern, you tend to look at everything through that thing. There are a couple of sites that I usually recommend. I don't have them offhand, but if you ask me in the Discord, um, I can dig them up. But it really it's just a matter. It's not just a matter of anything. It's something that you just have to be careful that when you start learning them, you're going to see them everywhere or see application for them everywhere, and you have to be careful not to overdo it. But you will. And so I think like anything else, you have to implement them and see what are the implications. If I use a strategy pattern versus adapter, what does that mean? What does that do for me? Why would I choose strategy over decorator? And I find discussing it in a group or with other folks and not just sort of by yourself, I think is the best way to learn it. Yeah, honestly, I don't personally. I think design patterns are useful. I think being able to do refactoring and test-driven development is much more important. Now, with that said, when you're doing refactoring, sometimes you'll be refactoring to a pattern. So knowing the patterns, but I think getting really good at the basic refactorings, extract method, rename, move methods, things like that, is more important than design patterns. Yeah. Rex, no 5 levels of inheritance, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, Refactoring Guru is one of the sites I recommend. Good materials on there. There's still not quite enough examples. And one of my sort of many back burner projects is to provide deeper examples. But I'll probably cover that kind of stuff uh, sometime when I pull together my the follow-on to my Make Your Code More Testable class, which is basically refactoring to patterns kind of thing. Kuete Chronicla. Sorry if I'm reading your name incorrectly. Is Spring better than React? It's not apples to apples. Spring is a framework for there's a Spring thing for React. But that's not at all what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is Spring framework, Spring Boot for Java. And that's not at all something you can compare to React. Totally, completely different things. One is a front end technology and the other is a back end technology. One is for JavaScript, TypeScript. The other one is for Java. So completely different. Hey, Tuneless-chan. Yes, learning them in context. I very much believe learning about what the problem is that they solve. Because without knowing that, you're just going to randomly refactor to patterns, or you're going to randomly use. So I really do like the idea of refactoring towards pattern, because that's what I do. I don't necessarily start out, I'm going to use a strategy pattern here. It's often because of some constraint or some need that I have that's like, oh, I want to be able to swap out these interest calculation algorithms. So I will then refactor it to strategy pattern. Yeah. Wow, chat got busy all of a sudden. Cursive for advanced patterns, if you're not developing a general purpose framework. Yeah, and that's a good point, that a lot of them are not very useful in sort of day-to-day development. Like the last time I used proxy or prototype, or even decorator. For at least on the back end, I've used a couple of times. Adapter I tend to use a lot. Factory method, maybe sometimes factories. Those I use somewhat frequently. I don't know if I ever finished writing it. But I had an article sort of like, here are the common patterns that you're probably going to encounter on sort of a weekly basis. And then there are the ones that you're probably not going to encounter except in special situations. So yeah. Well, I wouldn't say Spring is primarily a dependency injection framework. Usually when we think of Spring, we think of all the modules it has. Although I guess you could look at just its core as having dependency injection and some other things. I believe, yeah, Laravel and Django, I think, are probably what Spring is equivalent to. Oh, Lexler is the follow-up. Mainly, so I think of both parts as being part of the make your code more testable. And there actually is stuff in between those two classes, because there's some folks where it's like, I'm not going to be changing my architectural design. I need to know how to better refactor more at the code level. And so there is sort of this area in between those two classes that's like, let's do more refactoring towards sort of design patterns. How do we refactor some classes, not concerning with how do we test stuff outside. So there's some stuff that's sort of in the middle, and that's sort of what I'm thinking of. Hey Java MJ, is it possible to make a backend Java project that goes into React frontend? Yes, absolutely. And yeah, right now I'm creating my HTML front end server side generated. So Spring MVC is generating the HTML using this template here, what's called time leaf. But we could totally switch this to being a RESTful API. Sorry about the eye roll, because very few people are actually doing REST, but whatever. Basically an HTTP API that would support React or Vue or something from the front end. So that's really what it's meant for. I mean, if you're a JavaScript, a TypeScript developer, you're not going to use this because you're going to be programming using some other framework with Node.js. But since I'm a Java guy, I use Spring because it's pretty much does what I need it to do, and it's pretty much what most people use. Transstars asks, so REST, if you look at the original definition and the original discussions around it and what it's supposed to be, the aspect that's normally ignored is the hypermedia aspect. This idea that you sort of provide, instead of being this very tight connection between a front end, between a client of an API and the API provider, you loosen it up a bit by the API provider providing links, saying, here are the possible things you can do based on this input. I'm not describing it very well, but there's a whole area of more client-driven, sort of, instead of hard coding stuff in the client, that it pays more attention to what the backend is supplying. So if you look up hypermedia and REST, you'll probably find more than you want to look at it. These days, for worse, I won't say for better, for worse, REST has become a synonym for JSON and APIs over HTTP. Yeah, the whole Helios stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion about whether hypermedia is good or bad. I can see some places for it in High Striker. But I mean, there's got to be a reason why it's just not used as much. Although I know there's folks who do use it quite heavily, and Spring has full support for it with Spring REST, which truly is REST. But sorry, going back on chat here. But you asked because you so many jobs are Spring Hibernate Java. If you're doing Java backends, Spring is the standard. I mean, it's not an official standard in the sense of governmental, but it's what we call a de facto standard, which means it's super, super popular. Everybody's using it. Other frameworks that compete against it, there are a few, Quarkus, Micronaut, and some other things, but right now, from a market share point of view and a mind share point of view, Spring framework is the winner. Rivian, my project, I'm working on it as an API and then doing a front end with React. Hey, Rigolo app. Yeah, I'd like to call them web APIs too, Strager, but a lot of people call them REST APIs. I call them HTTP APIs, but that maybe I'll just call them web APIs. HTTP takes too long to say, just like www takes too long to say. I'm White Knife. What kind of side project should I work on to learn design patterns? I'm going to give you the same recommendation I give whenever somebody says, what should I work on? Which is find a project that is personally meaningful to you. Because you're going to be the one deciding on what it's going to do. And you will then be, instead of trying to find artificial things that you could do, creating something useful for yourself will sort of stretch you in ways that sort of normal, here, do this tutorial project won't, because you'll have to implement things based on what you want it to do. And you want to start out with something that's small and then grow it over time. You'll find, I think that's more useful because you'll find sort of it'll be more realistic. You'll have to solve problems that you'll encounter. And I think that's, and if you do it in ways where you're doing test-driven development, if that's something you're comfortable with, or at least writing lots of good tests, doing lots of refactoring. I think that is, and then you can start, as the project gets more sophisticated, because it's personal and has personal meaning, you will, sort of be more motivated to work through some of the struggles that you'll encounter. Yeah, dub dub dub, and I used to say that too, and then I just stopped because it's just annoying. There's also Spring Helios, right? Yeah, yeah. I used the Play framework back in the sort of Drop Wizard days, but I decided at that point Drop Wizard was better. This was in 2017, 2016. Um, and then I did some Spring stuff and wasn't happy because it hadn't fully gotten rid of the XML. Uh, but after that, once they got rid of that, then Spring is where I've been focusing my time. Yeah, Tramstars makes a good point, which is if you one of the things we often create are projects that are almost just data entry projects. I mean, like this one is somewhat like that, but you have to sort of grow it past a certain point where now you've started to add actual behavior. So things like constraints, things like rules. Once you start getting to something at that level where there's some behavior and not just sort of editing stuff that's in the database, that's where you'll really encounter uh, some of the important things around that'll pull in design patterns. Yeah, I haven't played with Akal a lot, but it's pretty cool. Oh, and thank you for the hydrate nightlight. All right, I think I'm caught up on chat. Awesome. Um, this is still bugging the hell out of me, but that's fine. So that's the field. Huddle ID, GitHub username, registration. All right, so let's, I think I fixed everything. Now that we got all our H's properly capitalized. All right, there we go. Not pretty, but I'm not going for beauty here. So now I've added that participant. They're in there. And hey, look, current size actually says how big the current huddle is. So success. All right, let's do a commit. Uh, now register a participant for a specific. Oh, I think that's all I did. That looks fine. Go ahead and commit. Yes, it works. It works. Thank you for the pass emotes. All right. So let's see what next. Next. So this is done. Um, so uh, I could add constraints, but if I'm being honest, really the next thing I need to do is add persistence. Because having to type this in every time would defeat the purpose. So I think other than looking for some refactoring opportunities, I think No, write code without a test. um, so this probably will need to be a factory method of some sort, but I'm going to skip that for now because I need to sort of stretch the code in a different direction. But yes, I sometimes ask myself that question, Lexmus. Why do I have? Uh, not sure what code to write without a test. Um, I mean, I could write a I could write an implementation of the repository without a test. Hey there, Simon. Yeah, I could YOLO the whole persistence part. There's not much to it, other than, I mean, the mapping between huddle and participants is going to be the only annoying thing. um, how do I want to go down the whole database route, or do I want to just maybe write it to a file? Even file stuff is just annoys me, and I try to avoid it because it's so, I don't like working with files. Like I'm just trying to like I could I could sort of serialize it to JSON and not write it to anything and just copy and paste it. That seems kind of just silly. So I could just write it to a file. Yeah, I mean I could write it just to do it and then migrate my way over to something testable. Yeah, I'm probably going to use Postgres just because where I'm going to deploy it, which is Heroku, has great support for that. It's very straightforward. I've done it before, so that's eventually what I'll do. But do we think we can do this without tests? Yes. Do we think we can do it easily? I'm not sure. All right, well, let's do it. So we'll need to create an implementation of a huddle repository. We'll implement that. Uh, and that will go into adapter out file. So this will be fun. So uh Binker, that's a good question. I still haven't quite fully figured out naming conventions for packages uh in the adapter out, because sort of by definition there's a port somewhere. You've never seen me this lost? You haven't been watching enough then. I get lost like this all the time. All right, so if we want to save a huddle, what would that look like? Do I want to just write it to JSON and delegate to the Jackson object mapper to do all the heavy lifting? I don't know why there's a part of me that feels like that's cheating, but like Hey, Top It. Uh, can I get an object mapper? I can just new one up, right? Let's see. Object mapper. All right, so we got an object mapper. So that means to save, I'll just use the object mapper, write value. Oh, look at that. I forgot. See, I don't use these aspects of object mapper very much, but look, it can write directly to a file. Let's do that. Where am I going to store it? Uh, uh, I don't know where the current directory is, but wherever it is, that's where it'll store it. Huddles. Uh, JSON. And then basically it's huddle. Except I can't do that uh, because by definition, domain objects are not what get persisted. So I need to do some mapping first. Yeah, no, this will be the most straightforward. I do need to though convert. I can't write the huddle directly. I need to create some huddle, a huddle DTO and a huddle and a participant DTO. Yeah, so it'll put it in the target directory. What does it put in the root of the target, or does it? Honestly, it doesn't matter as long as it's reading and writing this from the same place. Thank you for the hydrate rate. So good. I don't have to deal with the file stuff directly, but I can't store huddle. Why is it complaining though? Oh, because I need to return something. So somebody needs to sign an ID. That code I can just steal from my in memory. Oh no, I need to store all the huddles. So saving means I need to rewrite the entire list of huddles. So every time I do a save, it has to rewrite the entire list. Well, that's gonna, unless I write each one out, that's gonna be painful. Yeah, I could just rewrite the whole thing every time. Yes, we're about to find out. So let me steal this part. And I will need the sequence. That's going to be interesting. This is not going to be as straightforward as I thought, which of course, that's often the case. Because it can't start just at 0. It has to start at, so I can't do this. Since I can't delete, I can just basically do a max of. Sorry, I'm just having flashbacks. There was a course I taught, which basically had people write this kind of, not a file-based version, but an in-memory-based version of the repository. And it was really interesting to see what students, and these were, people just out of school, what they would write for this part of the save where it basically had to assign an ID. You saw this typical stuff of like random, which for what we were doing would probably work, but not safe, certainly. Some people did UUID, which was fine, but I had a requirement that this had to store it in a long, and so that didn't really work. Some folks would basically scan through the entire list that they were storing, looking for the max ID that existed, except once I added in delete, that went out the window. So anyway, so it was really interesting to see what people came up with. Yeah, I'm not going to use a GUID. I'm going to do let's scan the max. So I'm clearly going to have to, am I going to load it every time? I guess I'm loading it every time. So we're going to load from, so basically it's find all. I might have to write find all first. So list of huddle, all huddles equals, this is going to be so inefficient, but who cares, right? And then, but I only need to do this if the ID is not assigned, because otherwise it's already got one. So if this is null, then we're going to load all the huddles, find the max ID. UberX is getting their money's worth for the write code without a test, because I'm writing way more code without a test than even I generally do for this kind of channel redemption. I prefer long over ID mainly because it's eventually I'll be storing it in Postgres and I let it assign the ID. There is the other way to go, which is create a GUID or a UID and sort of separate the two, but it's more straightforward that way. Yeah, I don't want to use the object's hash code. I'm fine with doing it this way. Because otherwise should I just use a random number? I could just use a random number. That would probably be fine. I would just have to make sure the seed is not predictable. No, let's do it this way. Hey, Connie Shmoney, what does Object Mapper do? So Object Mapper is the Jackson JSON library that maps JSON text into objects and vice versa, take objects and writes them out as JSON. Yeah, and hash codes, I'd have to make sure. I'm just gonna assign IDs this way. Hey, Alex Zam, can I teach us Kafka Elasticsearch? Nope. I haven't used Kafka in 5 years, so, and I haven't used Elasticsearch ever. I used to be a Solar expert. I am no longer a Solar expert. All that knowledge has been ejected from my brain. Who's Jason? All right. Yeah, I've written so much code, right? What the hell was I doing? Oh yeah. So let's map to int. I was about to write a loop and I'm like, why the hell am I writing why would I write a loop? I can use streams. Let's map to int for the huddles, huddle ID. Oh, so first I need to map to huddle, right? Which ID is this? That's not it. It's, hold on. Wait a second. I'm getting confused what ID this is. This is a huddle ID. So why is it giving me such a, so I've mapped it and now map to int. Why am I confused here? Boy, H is in uppercase. I'm really having a problem with. I'm like, why is it complaining? Before I can save, I have to sign an ID if it needs one. So that's what I'm doing right now. Oh, dark mode. Oh boy, we're going for like the double whammy here. Hold on. Let's see. So we'll map to that, and then from there we want to map huddle ID. That's what I want. And then I want max. Why do I need a comparator? I'm insulted that I'm insulted that IntelliJ didn't compare that. Didn't recommend that. Okay, and so now this is long max ID equals, what is that long? I'm confused. What is it complaining about? Oh, it's an optional. So it's or else get I just forget how to write that. Do I need the? Yeah, I don't need that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. That's max ID, and then all this to set freaking little ID of max ID plus 1. All right, there we go. Now we've got an ID assigned. Let me do dark mode because Connie Schwani redeemed that. Whoops. This is so hilarious. All right, hold on. I guess I gotta set my dark mode timer. 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah, all you dark mode fans are now like, oh my god, thank God. Oh my god, you mean he can do it? And he's been choosing not to? Unfollow. All right, so we've gotten the ID assigned in case it didn't have one. And so now we want to now we need to map all of the huddles into huddle DTOs that we can use Jackson to convert. Yeah, you know, if I used UUID, it only would have saved me what, 9 lines of code. So, but it would have required me then to change the type of the ID everywhere. So, actually, not everywhere. Well, in enough places. Anyway, so now I need to map. So I want a list of huddle DTOs. So let me go create that, and that goes in that, and that's in the right place. This is going to have, what does huddle have? I guess right now, we'll have most of that. So this will be a long. That's that. Zone datetime, I hope it knows what it's doing with that. And then these are going to be participant DTOs. So we'll go create that. And in participants, we'll just grab that. But none of these are going to be final. And I'll generate getters and setters. And then for this, yeah, getters and setters as well. And no, I'm not using Lombok. Maybe we can start IDs from 1. By default, it'll start from 1. Did you not see what the code is doing? Basically what happens is if there are none, so it'll do a stream of the existing ones, and if it doesn't find one, it'll generate 0, but since I'm adding 1, it'll actually start at 1. Use the blocker unfollow. Wow, I've got some really demanding viewers here today. Do I even have Lombok in my... I even have it? No, I don't have it. I'm not about to add it, so too bad. All right. So now we want to basically huddle DTOs. We're gonna do I need all the huddles anyway? Yes, I do. Okay, because I'm adding to that list. So we're gonna do that. And then all huddles add the one that came in. This is like not only writing without a test, it's also writing without any of the intermediate refactoring that I'd normally be doing. Stream of consciousness coding. Huddle DTOs. So we're going to take all the huddles. We're going to map them. I need a mapping method on my DTO. So I want to map from. So huddle DTO. Huddle. From. So let's go write that method. So it's going to return a huddle DTO from a huddle to huddle DTO. Could use records in there. Yeah, I could. Honestly, I'm going like the path of least resistance. So whatever I have to do, not a lot of thinking about. Just catching up on chat. Lombok does bytecode injection. Yeah, mutables. I should actually I keep having my list to take a look at immutables. I'm never going to learn guitar if I have to do those first. Luckily, Top Hit, this is not required to learn how to play guitar. Yeah, I know Jackson's is records compatible. I'm just going path of least resistance. Hey, Ampery, how's it going? Okay, so we need to create a new huddle DTO. And we'll basically set the ID from the huddle. And we'll set the name from the huddle. And we'll set that from the huddle. And last but not least, we need to map the participants. So I was thinking, it's like, I might have been able to use map struct here, but never mind. All right, so now I got to go to participant DTO. Ampri, you need me to recommend 2 books? Just random, any 2 books? Mm. All right, Top Hit. I might see you later. Enjoy. So participant DTO, I also need a map method. So we'll do huddle DTO set participants huddle stream map. So we want to map huddle DTO, no, participant DTO from, and let's go create this method. This is a participant. This feels so weird to be writing code like this. So I want to return a new participant DTO. Oh, right. I don't have any, I just have getters and setters. So put that in a variable. Some DTO. Oh, I don't want to copy all that information. Oh, fine. I'll do it. Set email. Set name. Set GitHub username. At least IntelliJ is making pretty good suggestions. And set new to mobbing. That. I will return participant DTO. And now I'm going to return huddle DTO. So what is it complaining about here? Participants, stream, map. Oh, I forgot the to list. To list, all by itself. One thing I just realized is in dark mode, the rainbow brackets plugin I use is a lot more noticeable in terms of the colors it uses for the parentheses. Because we see sort of the shift between the green and the yellow. All right, so we've done that. What else have we got? This, then we need to list. No, use the shorter one, to list. Okay, now we can finally write the huddle DTOs. And we'll return huddle. Now what's it complaining about? Yeah, to me, I find it harder to see errors in dark mode. That's why I don't use it. Well, one of the reasons I don't use it. Oh, dark mode's over. Speaking of which. Oh, looks like I missed a hydrate. Oh, I'm very sensitive to seeing the unused code. Say goodbye. Put your sunglasses on. Get those sunglasses on. Oh wow, it's much faster than it used to be. I used to have to actually say okay or apply before it applied the light theme. Now it's like instant. That's new. No comment, Kanishwai. Now, what is it complaining about here? Cannot resolve method. Why not? Oh, because that's not a file. Can I just do that? Or is that too easy? Okay. Now write value is okay, fine, that's an exception. What do we do with exceptions? We just surround it with try catch. I'll just throw a runtime exception. What do? We just catch them and rethrow them as a runtime. English it in. They're your channel points. I don't know if I have a cooldown for it though. All right. So that was the save method. The find all should be much easier. But we gotta go the other way. So object mapper read value new file huddles.json. And it needs to know the type. That's going to be it's going to be that awkward one to use a list. I don't want to do that. So let's do this. Okay. So that'll be much easier to work with. So we want to write that. We are writing that. Huddles DTO. Huddles DTO. That's not confusing at all. Oh my gosh. Okay. And the type is going to be huddle DTO. This is going to give us the type that we want. Yeah, so I can just basically. Oh, now I got to convert it back. Huddle puddle. Ulrich says, for every hour of white mode used, a household in India doesn't get power for a whole day. I'm sorry. Mining Bitcoin far outweighs any waste of that white mode is causing. Yeah, you know, the write code without a test probably could use a timer. But it's basically write a file-based version without tests. We'll see. I think I'm almost there. The find by ID, that'll be easy because I'll just read them all in and search. This one I got to do the conversion the other way. So I've got to do. So I need to go here. Create a getter. That's sufficient. Yeah, that should be sufficient. And so now here, huddles DTO get huddles will map. Then we'll map. What are we getting out of those? What are we getting out of those? Why am I not hitting the right file? Control. So we want it. So we getting. That's a list. List of huddle DTOs, and so we want to do huddle DTO. Oh, actually, we want a regular method No, as huddle or something like that. But we don't want a static. I mean, what's funny is I'm going to have to write some of these conversion things anyway when I store in the database, so I don't feel too bad about writing all this code. Um, I won't actually be throwing it all away. Long method alert. Oh, we've got many code smells going on here. Sorry if I don't say bye later, it's because it's almost 1 a.m. Yeah, go to sleep. Oh no, wheat low. 25 minutes. I'm not going to be streaming for, basically till the stream ends. So this is dark mode stream. All right. I see what's going on. Let me go do that. There we go. Hey there, Mr. Kira Life. I'm actually really amazed that they were able to finally get that appearance change to be instant. Although I'm not happy that it does it that instantly. Like I would prefer it wait for me to hit the apply button. That's what I would like. All right, so we got to convert, do the same thing here. We know we're going to need in the participant DTO, we know we're going to need a method that's going to be participant as participant. And this doesn't take a huddle DTO because it's on a huddle DTO. And so huddle. So from the huddle DTO, basically just name and zone this dot start date time. And then we'll assign it the ID. It has to be huddle ID of. And then for all the participants, so participants map stream map participant as participant, and then to list, and then that gets. Come on, you didn't really need to put the this in there, did you? Oh, I guess you did. Fine. And then huddle. Oh, I don't have an I mean, I guess I could register one by one. I guess I'm fine with doing that. Or I could provide a constructor, an overloaded constructor for easier recreation. Oh my, hold on, I'm way behind on chat. Mr. Kier Life says, run through basic instructions before OOP. Data types, etc. Yeah, I'll leave other folks to reply in chat. You can always join our Discord. That's a bit more of an involved question. Yeah. Hey, Grumpy Game Dev. Yeah, so I don't leak code. I think that's not at all interested in that. If you're using it in the way that I think you're using it, which is uh, very much not the types of coding that I do. All right. We've got 20 minutes. Do we think we can finish this? So we've got our participants converted, and now I think we basically do I just do a for each then? And then do huddle register, and then I don't need to do this. It's fine for now, I guess. And did I do participant DTO? No, I didn't. So let's do that. So return new participant. Um, name. Hmm. It's so weird. Sometimes IntelliJ will autocomplete the entire set of parameters, comma separated, and I never quite know when it gets triggered. Um, if and so I'm always like, how do I trigger that on purpose? But oh well. So email, Discord username, and then Nita Bobby. Is that right? Those all the same? Yeah, they are. Okay, cool. So that's done. That's done. This will just surround with try catch. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Um, okay, so we've got our DTOs. We map them to huddles. We convert those to a list, and then we return that. Oops. There we go. Oh my gosh, so much code. Oh, and find by ID. Is just find all, filter, find first, find any, find first, find any. Where, uh, so this is going to be a stream of huddles. Wait, it's not the find it. This is what always confused me about the streams. It's filter. Holy cow. Wow. Look at all that chat. Um, yeah, pretty much I agree with what Strager wrote. Yep. Even for jobs at those companies, I don't the kinds of questions they ask, and Strager knows this as well, is not those. Um, and I don't know this. No, I'm not going to get into that. Exception has been propagated. Oh, thank you. Um, yeah, continue to agree with Strager. Honestly, in terms of algorithms, I don't write a lot of algorithms. All right, so we're filtering. So we're filtering where the huddle dot ID is equal to huddle ID. Find any does what I think it does, right? Returns an optional short circuiting. I don't care about a stable result. Okay. And filter is inclusive. Right. Okay. And I can just return that because optional. All right. I think all right. 46 minutes later, I've written a whole bunch of code without tab. All right. Well, what do you know? We have time to actually see if it works. No, I'm not writing it. There's no more code to write. There's no more code to write. Yeah, when I got a job at Google, there was the only kind of competitive programming I knew of was like what the ACM, Association of Computing Machinery, ran. And I got a job. I still haven't renamed the class. All right. I'll call this one file huddle. That's as far as I'll go and rename it. If this works the first time, TDD is dead. Should I just totally YOLO it? Like just run it? So let's see. So what else? What I need to do to wire it up is in the MobOrg app. Instead of this repository, I'll just comment this one out. And what we're going to recreate is the file huddle. I'll run it. Oh, we got an exception. Oh, right. The find all will fail because the file doesn't exist. No, I'm not. No, I'm rejecting that. I'm rejecting both of these. You can have your points back. I'm rejecting that rename. So yes, so the startup case of where the file does not exist, probably need to handle that. So find all with a file not found exception. I will just return an empty list. Magic. Puddle. I'll think about it. I'll I'll take it under consideration. So is it like because it's a no? Now we have some other problem, but hold on. I will store that. Unsupported operation. So failed to execute the command. So the command line runner failed because I tried to save a huddle. Oh, because I returned an empty list, and you can't add to an empty list. So let's just return a new array list. I think it was UberX who initially did that. Now it fails for some reason. Um, oh, zone date time is not supported by default. I have to add the JSR 310. Okay, so I'm surprised that that's not included. Is it sufficient just to add the module? All right. Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's there and I haven't registered it because I basically did not have that injected. So let's do that. Let's try that first. So uh, let's move that into the constructor, and then yeah. So that's the problem. Is I was creating my own object mapper that didn't have this mapped already. All right. Um, do I have something like a roadmap on what to learn on Spring? Uh, I think it sort of goes back to my same advice of like pick an application, pick a little project you want to create, and then learn about the parts of Spring that will let you create that. And I think you will naturally find the pieces that you need. You're likely going to need like core Spring stuff, all the auto wiring and concepts of bean scanning and stuff like that. So your basic Spring Boot stuff, Spring MVC, because that's how you're going to implement web APIs. And then beyond that, it's database modules, and depends on the database you want to use. Uh, then you're off into whatever else you need. I mean, there's not a lot that you need. I mean, I pretty much get Java developers up to speed in 3 days with my Spring training. Because once you're there, then now it's just a matter of figuring out what you need to do and architecting the application correctly. Still can't serialize. Oh, it needs a default constructor. Oh, and that means it needs a setter. All right, then let's do that. Uh, all right. This is called exception-driven programming. Now what? It fixed Huddles DTO. Oh, no, I didn't. I fixed part of it. I didn't completely fix it. Yeah, crash-driven development. No, now what? Unexpected end of input. Oh, wow. Um, I wonder if it created a file. See, now I don't know what the hell's going on. Um, yeah, so I think it basically created an invalid file. Right, because when it failed that it couldn't write the date time, it just basically crashed. All right, so let's just remove that. At least now we know where it puts the file. All right, try it again. Um, yeah, in general, when I interview people, it started up successfully. When I interview people, I like to pair with them. That's what I like to do. Or even better, if we're doing mob programming, pull them into the mob. Kind of shmoney. I've written REST API and work with Angular already. Um, yeah, I mean, once you're beyond there, in terms of what to learn next, honestly, for me, it would be get better at testing, because Spring has a lot of capabilities there, but they're not always they're not always well documented. Uh, Crash-driven developers. Yeah, so I did the yacht dice game, which is like Yahtzee. I did that all test driven. You'll find that on my YouTube. That's also nice because anything with like sort of like games like that are really nice because they have lots of rules that are very testable. And usually the user interactions are not very sophisticated, so you don't get hung up on that. So I definitely do a lot of game stuff in when I'm teaching. We use blackjack, Yahtzee, that kind of stuff. All right. Um, so it's up and running. Uh, let's let's see if we can actually see stuff. All right. So there's a mob there, and it has ID of 1. Aw, not found. So I must have. What did I implement wrong? So not found probably means when it was reading from. It's there. Got no participants, but that's fine. But it's there. That's interesting. What did it fail on? Um. So, or else throw in my controller. Oh, I'm basically over my time for today. Hmm. Dashboard controller. So this was the huddle detail view. We tried to find by the ID. Which is 1. So it should have been found. So find by ID. Did I not implement that? I thought I did. Um, I wonder if. Oh, I never implemented equals here. And although the default equals, what would the default equals for a record be? That should would it use the hash code of a long? No, that wouldn't make any sense. That should work. But it won't be equal equal. Oh, duh. So let's do that. See, a test would have caught that. I will not enumerate in all the ways that tests would have caught all this stuff. All right. But hey, we persisted stuff, which means we're going to end up with 2 mobs. When it starts up, it adds a new one. That'll be interesting. All right. Why did this fail? Somebody returned. So here, I tried to do a save. Find all. Oh, I wonder if that list is immutable. Right. Yeah, so is this list immutable too? Well, it's a list, and I mean, I could create a new list and then add it on, but um, uh, is that a good idea? So that one is fine because we're writing that one out. This one, I don't know what kind of list it's returning. So that's interesting. So toList puts it in an unmodifiable one, but collector's toList is not. Yeah, I know dark mode ended. I'm aware of this. I'm also aware that my stream should be ending. But now I'm at like that point at which it's like, can I just get it to work? So now we see 2 mobs. That's fine. And this should be 1 and this should be 2. I should be able to go to this one. And look at that. Now the tricky part is if I register, will that work? No, of course not. Huddle not found. Um, I don't. Did it add it and not save it? No, it did not save it correctly. So, stream ruined. Yeah, normally, just for those of you who haven't seen me redeem the right code, I usually do not write this much code without tests. The reason why I was okay with doing it is because this is temporary anyway. And the DTO stuff I actually will use when I store it in the database. So that stuff isn't a waste. But let this be a negative example for you. If you were thinking that, you don't always need to write tests, let this be a lesson. Um, how much more do I want to? So it failed here because it couldn't find it. Do I dare debug? So should be able to go to the dashboard. And look, there's an ever-growing number of mob 6s. So, oh, that's interesting. The huddle ID is wrong. Yeah, I'm not even sure where to look for that. So I think we'll call it here. Yes, I'm clearly capable of writing bugs without failure tests. Yes, this is the first time and I can't remember when that I've had to debug my own code. Um, so that means that somewhere in this page, uh, the hidden value is 0. That's not right. There shouldn't be anybody that's 0. And I said I would stop, but now this is the danger zone of like, oh, let me just do a little bit more and I'll be able to figure it out. Um, let's stop that. Because that huddle ID comes from the huddle itself, which should be correct. Yeah, I'm guessing it's not retrieving it properly, but I will handle this in my next stream.